Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. Hope you had a great week, and happy Friday to those who are looking forward to the weekend. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and international best-selling author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 90 countries. So whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing, highlighting those transformational moments that changed our lives, and how we use it to then transform lives all across the world. Listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also join our Facebook group. Search Facebook for Life Transformation Radio Community. And you can also subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, Google Podcasts. We're also on Pandora, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Life Transformation Radio. I appreciate all the reviews, appreciate all of the subscribes. So if you enjoy what you hear today, make sure before you leave to hit that subscribe button on your favorite platform. On the show, my guests are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, amazing human beings that are impacting the world around them. And my guest today has done exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, you can go ahead and give us a call at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my amazing guest for today, Linda McIsaac. Linda, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Well, hello, Sean. It's so happy to be here and have a stimulating discussion with you.
I cannot even tell you how amazingly excited I am to have you on my show. We met, and I was like, oh, my God, Linda, we got to do this.
Well, we're all about helping people recognize those God-given abilities that they have and to move forward in a positive way.
Yep. Absolutely. Where are you calling in from?
My computer.
That's so funny.
I am in Oregon, Wisconsin, actually.
Wisconsin. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm from Michigan. Yeah, I originally was in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so not too far away, but now I live in North Carolina, and it's a little bit warmer down here than whatever you got going on over there in lower Canada, it seems like. Cold up there in Wisconsin.
Well, it's our first frost, and I really enjoy the four seasons here. I'm sitting in the woods with our horse farm out front, and my daughter, the horse whisperer, out training horses right now.
That's awesome. Very, very, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, when I get property or wherever I'm going, whatever, I definitely want to get horses. There's a lot of studies going on right now about horses and veterans.
Yes.
PTSD and horses.
Yes.
A lot of science. I don't know. I mean, I get the service animal, right? But I would have never thought the studies of that done with horses and the results of them just interacting and, man, I would have never guessed.
Well, we have a facility just south of us, and it works with our veterans and also disabled youth.
Awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, there's one here in North Carolina called Stepping Stone Stable, and they work with autism.
Mm-hmm.
They work with body. You know. So, for example, like spinal bifida, or just ailments. You know what I mean? MS, ALS. They work with people that have those bodily ailments. I don't even know what to call them, right? But it's amazing with the work with horses. It's amazing. So, with that said, the topic of the show and the title of the show is Connect to Improve Relationships with Linda McIsaac. She discovered the different innate abilities that people are born with based on the way they think and how to measure them with an online assessment called, and I'd love for you to pronounce this because I mess it up every time, Xyting
Insight. Yes.
Xyting. Yeah, I want to make sure because I'm like, Xyting Insight. This is a big aha. She applies her science of mind technology in many areas of a person's life to help them better understand themselves and others. Linda has a Masters and Ph.D. from the University of Wisconsin, Madison. She was the first woman superintendent of schools in Wisconsin, and she established the first computer training and application development company in Madison, Wisconsin, which sold to Inacom in 1998. Started Xyte Inc. in 1999. She wanted to start that to investigate and research the people side of the equation, true meaning of a team at home and work by applying Xyte's methodology and solving the biggest problem, which is communication breakdown. This promotes value, respect, and appreciation for everyone's gifts. To Connect, a book written by Linda and her daughter Megan, utilizes the mind-to-heart technology of Xyte to find a soulmate or improve an existing relationship. There's two websites right there. Go to 2connectbook.com and then go to Xyte, XYTE.com. Xyte.com and then 2connectbook.com. Go ahead and pick that up. It is an amazing, amazing read. With all that said, Linda, I got to know your why. Why do you do what you do?
I remember my history way back when I was a little kid, working with mathematics and Mobius strips, and I really wasn't into a lot of the people side of, growing up. I was a bookworm, and my teacher said, well, you should go on in school, go to college. I really didn't know what college was because no one in my family had gone to college. And I found college was very interesting too. There was statistics and more math stuff and chemistry stuff. And so at that time, the professions for women that were encouraged was much more female-oriented, like secretary, nurse, teacher kind of thing. And so I still, putzed away with my numbers, but I found that I was really interested in improving things for people. And I taught school, and it was a school that looked at the individual and how they learned. And as I reflect back to answer your why question, Shane, I know that was a really important piece. And it took me a long time until I was like 45 in our own research to really understand what made me tick and why I always was interested in how things worked. Really find a job title. My godfather was in charge of American Motors Engineering, and of course we worked on cars, and I drag raced and all those things. But I was really pretty lost, but yet, getting an education and trying to pay for it. But the book itself is a result of finding out that there are certain, how do you want to say it? It's not mystical or magical. There is a force, a God force in this world that directs us. If we listen to that God force, that we are on a journey that we love, and we may not know where we're going. Like for me, I didn't know that education and learning about individually guided education was so important. Learning about statistics was so important. To have made the discovery we made, along the way I had to figure out how to survive and pay for school and all that. But I feel that my gift to everyone is to help them really develop their confidence and their hope. You are born with these gifts. Gifts, if you let yourself be directed by that divine force, will direct you to a life of contentment, peaceful, happiness. And it's so important. I read about your journey, and everyone out there, you have your own journey and your own story. And we have choices to make along the line. And hopefully our friends and others support us along the way and can help us make the right decisions. Because I'm feeling today's world is so negative. I talk to the kids, and the kids, once they've gone through our assessment and our tools, they say, oh, I do have value. Yes, every person has value, and no one person is better than anyone else. And Sean, the first book was really about love, and the fact that we have to love ourselves before we can really love others and understand them.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's you've had
I
your
totally
own,
get that.
Yeah, your journey, and remember, I was this little geeky girl, and I've come to this realization in life that what's most important is to follow those divine. I'm not sure how you want to define it. I don't know. Did you have some of those feelings as you went on your journey?
I mean, I had a lot of ups and downs,
Yeah.
In 2008, I tried to take my life. I actually put a gun in my mouth and tried to end my life. I joined the military in 2001. I've had a terrible, terrible childhood with abuse and neglect and all kinds of stuff that I've had to fight through.
Yeah.
But it never deterred me. I always wanted to work hard. Because of my circumstances, was always a resilient person until I wasn't anymore. I've had all kinds of, feelings, but I mean, I've always felt like there's something big. Like landing on the moon in the 60s would have been the biggest thing. And then all of a sudden, the internet, biggest thing. And then, can you imagine if they were like, God's coming tomorrow, 1 p.m., he's coming. And then he showed up, they'd be like, oh, my crap, that's a big thing, right? I always felt like there's something big in the universe, whether it be God, universe, whatever you want to call it. I always believe that there's something bigger than me happening. There's no way that I'm just here to exist.
Yes. But you had a key word there, and that's work. Usually you have to work. No one hands you everything on a silver platter. And so if you're willing to work and try to figure it out and contribute what you can, and it's in the giving that we receive. And it's so important to understand that. But I look back and I didn't understand that. And at first it was like money, focusing on, well, you got to make some money because you don't have a lot of money. You got a car,
Sure.
At least, and you want to be thankful every single day for what you have. I have a place to sleep and I have food to eat. But money is not what it's about.
Right, I agree.
And so
it becomes people's focus at some point, either out of desperation, or out of necessity. Like my necessity, your necessity is the world's necessity is we have to have money to pay for groceries, car insurance, whatever.
Yeah.
Necessity. We just have to focus. But when it becomes a moment of desperation where you have a family of 6 and they're about to get evicted from their house, and you got nowhere to go, it becomes desperation. So I firmly believe that money is the byproduct of the energy that you put into the world. That's what I believe.
Yes.
I believe money is energy.
Yes, it is. And, I think back to Maslow's triangle, those basic needs. You have to have something to eat and clean water to drink before you can even get it to the point of thinking about love of who's around you and giving to them when your basics aren't even covered. And in this country right now, I am very fearful for the people that are out there with the 6 kids to feed and no money. So
right. That's scary.
That is very, very scary. So in getting back to your question of why I do what I do, things just happen. A workforce center called me today and said, wow, you got this really cool tool, and we want to help these kids in La Crosse, Wisconsin, And so we will help those kids figure out who they are, develop a career plan, even try to match them with their innate gifts to jobs, because there are some jobs that are open. And also, the other big thing is the education, because we know with your God-given talent, it's determined by the way you take in information, how you make your decision, how you keep it in your memories. And I know I was destined to teach in that individually guided school because that is the key to figuring out who you are. You need to know that information, and that's how we designed our online assessment, is by looking at your brain and figuring out your gifts that you were born with by the way you take in that information, that transfer of information. And so what really bothers me is that our schools are not designed to deliver instruction in the best way that a child learns. So we disenfranchise 30% of our kids.
Yes. Oh, the education system is just absolutely atrocious. It's outdated, number one.
Outdated.
It's outdated. And it teaches what it wants. And I have proof.
Yeah.
It just teaches whatever it wants. Last year, my daughter was doing some history. She was doing a history book. She was doing a paper on history, whatever, American history. And she was asking me, she goes, hey, can we go see some civil, this was like Civil War stuff. And North Carolina has a huge, rich history in the Civil War. And she says, can we go see some Civil War stuff? I'm like, totally, we could definitely do that. And she goes, would love to go see some stuff. And she talked about how Lincoln was the president at the time, and he was in charge of the Union, which he was leading Democrats. And so I was like, whoa, let me see your history book. And in the history book, it was teaching the kids that Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat freeing the slaves in his history book. And I called the school and I was like, are you kidding me? And then I called the company and I was like, why? They're like, because that's what we're teaching. I'm like, it's wrong. You're teaching them wrong.
Yeah.
And most of what was in this book about that stuff was completely flip-flopped 180. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, I'm about to homeschool you because this is ridiculous. But it's just they teach what they want, And then the Common Core thing, it's like make this box and do these lines and make these circles. And I'm like, yo,
No.
Go get a doggone calculator right now and go plug in 4 plus 4. Like, I got to make circles and in school, I was 83, baby.
Yeah.
Ms. Johnson in the 4th grade was like, Mr. Douglas, you will never have a calculator in your pocket to figure these math problems out. Well, little does Ms. Johnson know, I got a Samsung Galaxy S20 in my pocket 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I know. What are we teaching these kids?
It's so antiquated. And realize that in Europe and other countries, even I was visiting in New Zealand, the Maori Indians, they figured out what the individual was good at. And so at a certain point, they realized some like on-the-job training. Sitting in a desk for 6 hours doesn't do it. And so when we discovered the different ways information is transferred in the mind, we now have an explanation is for these kids that are dropping out. They're called GEDO kids in the United States.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I think it's a derogatory term.
Yeah. And they have to sit and try these tests because their employer wanted them to have a high school diploma. But there was nothing wrong with them, and it's just that they learned in a different way. And our research, and that's one of the next books coming out from me, and I have a guide right now for all parents that are interested. It's about 10 pages, and it explains you can look at your child and determine the way that they learn, because we need to build their confidence that they can learn. Everyone can learn. It's just we learn in different ways.
Yeah. Well, I look at what Elon Musk said a long time ago. He said that I don't have a lot of degrees. I don't have a PhD, but I employ people who do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, right?
Yeah.
So Elon Musk has 2 bachelor's degrees. He has 2. And I remember him saying that he went to go do he went into the PhD program, so you got your bachelor's and everything. Okay, now let's get your master's, let's get your PhD, right? He dropped out after 2 days. He's like, oh, no, this isn't for me. Like, he just knew. Yeah. And he says that college isn't even for learning anymore. It's for having fun. You're just there to have fun for 4 years. Yeah. And I'm like, if we're going to give free college away, my number one question is, number one, who's going to teach there? Yeah. Who's going to be teaching these kids? And number 2, how are we going to pay them? The tuition for the students goes to pay for the faculty. If we're not paying for college, where's the money going to come from? The government? And then what type of education do you get for free? Like, I don't know about you, but I've been around the block for like business and stuff. Seems like you have too. And in business, if someone wants to give something away for free, I mean, minus a book. I'm talking about like services. Like, I'm talking like, I'll mentor you, I'll coach you, I'll build you. Can you imagine if like KB Homes was like, hey, we're going to build this house for free? What are you going to get?
It's so sad. And there's some wonderful, wonderful teachers. I have to make the point that there are wonderful teachers out there trying to cope with bureaucratic nonsense. And this is back in the 70s. We actually designed education, and it's on the internet. It's called Individually Guided Education, where we looked at the child, how they learned, and designed a program for them. And we started in elementary school, but then when we came to the junior high, we ran into more policy kinds of things also funding. They just wanted to keep the egg-crated approach. I call it egg-crated. Everyone goes and sits in little rows, you know.
Yep. You're making factory workers, not doing anything else. Yeah. You're creating employees.
Yeah, and so we want people to be able to have critical thinking skills, and it's not how much rote instruction and wording back and citing back things that we've been trying to get in our brains. No, we want people to be able to think and solve problems. And another thing we found in our research is that when you take the Xyting Insight assessment, And I want to give some of these passcodes away today to interested people as well, Shane.
Sure.
That we found that you really prefer to either move around a lot during the day and use your body in solving problems, or you're really good with your hands, or you're really good with the spoken or written word, or you're into mind things like I was with statistics and things like that. And we correlated all that with the Federal Occupational Database of Jobs. And so for kids, with the lacrosse center that we'll be starting with next week, the kids will be able to have an assessment, then look at how they can use their abilities in the kinds of jobs that would make them happy and they would enjoy. And then we have another little check sheet that says this is how they learn, so that we build their confidence. Not only do we want to build the confidence in the human being that they are God's gift to the world, but also that they can learn, because we disenfranchise them. This is bad.
I've got 3 kids in virtual school, and they hate it. They're not learning anything. They hate it.
Yeah.
They're doing worksheets.
Yeah.
They're watching some videos, and that's it.
Yeah. And
I mean,
that's
you
what the kids.
You can pretty much YouTube anything today. How do I do this? How do I do? Like, I am not joking. My 13-year-old has these math problems, and she's like, "Oh, these are tough," and I'm over here like, "Hey Alexa, hey Google, what is x plus y multiplied by y times x plus 4x plus?" I mean, it's like I'm all this stuff, and they're just spit out an answer, 4y equals whatever, and they'll just spit it out. I'm like, hell yeah! They're like, we have to show our work. And I'm like, first of all, I spent 20 years in the military.
Yeah.
Not one time in my life did I have to solve for X.
Yep. Yeah,
not one time.
I know. And the Europeans and the Maori Indians are way ahead of us. They didn't ask us to sit in a row and take all of this irrelevant content. And let me bring up another topic, Shane, is that we nowhere do we teach them who they are, but how to get along with the other people that are different, that have their brain works a different way.
Why are we not in our education system today addressing the culture of the human? How is this? When I remember my first year in was it 8th? Maybe it was 8th grade, 9th grade, 8th grade, something like that. We took a home economics class. It was required. Home economics class. How to make homemade macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Like, I had a recipe, and we had to make it, and they taught you stuff, right? I mean, they taught you how to cook. They taught you how to do stuff. Even shows like Saved by the Bell had a home economics class and an auto shop, and you had all this stuff, right? And I remember, and then years later, they're like, we're going to stop this. Like, we're not doing it anymore. It wasn't even a thing anymore. You didn't do home economics. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like why? And then,
why?
You would do wood shop, or you would do some other kind of cool stuff. It's like, oh, it's cool. I mean, most high schools nowadays, you have a tech education center where you do school in the morning, and then in the afternoon you go and do a trade, you do a skill, super cool, right? Super cool.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got rid of that, or the fact that there's not a class where you dive into relationships, the human spirit, you don't how is this not a thing? In the advancements of science and technology and education, how are we not addressing the simplistic form of the human communication through different times of your life? And teaching resilience to these kids.
And
maybe we can cut down on children's suicides at that point. Maybe we do that.
It's like the kids that we work with in inner city in Cincinnati, they were amazed that, their friends are different, but this is why they do what they do. Because we explain that when we find out the way their mind works. Because the number one problem in businesses, in church, in schools is communication breakdown. Well, guess what? We could teach this. I offered to give this away to the state of Wisconsin. You know what they did with it? They put it in policy committee. I've never heard back.
Wow. That's insane.
How can we, I just love to be on your show to be able to share this with people that want to, try the assessment or look at how their kids learn, and let's get a discussion going. I'm interested in how can we improve it. When I found out about your show, I got so excited to talk with you and figure out again, as a driver that you are, how can we make a difference? How can we change some of these things for the better of common sense?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And our kids come out. No, I tell my kids, I am not I was a C student. Okay, for example, my senior year, my first class that I had, was a college algebra class. I was doing geometry in the 10th grade, or in the freshman year, 10th grade.
Oh,
I was in a trigonometry class. My next one was calculus. I'm like, hell no. I ain't taking no freaking calculus. But I would sleep through my math. Like, I came in, I put my hoodie on, and I went to sleep. And she's like, sir, you can't sleep in class. I'm like, fine, whatever. And she's like, you need to do work. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And I just didn't want to do it. And then I would do no homework at all. She would give us homework. Like, get zeros and everything. And she's like, why are you not doing homework? I'm like, because this is stupid. This is completely dumb. And so she gave us like some worksheets to do, and I'd do them in like 5 minutes. I'd be done. I didn't have to crack a book. I knew numbers. I knew math. Like, it was just something I was really good at. And she's like, can you imagine if you were like an A student? I'm like, and what's that going to do for me? Well, it's going to get you into college. I'm like, I'm not going to college. What? Like, no, I'm going to build my own businesses. I'm going to join the military. I'm going to go see the world. What the hell am I going to go to college for? Why? So I could work for somebody to make their dreams come true? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do my 20 years in the military. I'm going to build some businesses, and then I'm going to get out of the military and retire at 38, living a comfortable life. I'm not going to want to work paycheck to paycheck. Most people work paycheck to Monday. Yeah. Most people get paid on a Friday. They get paid. They work paycheck to Monday. Like, most people don't even have $400 in their savings account. Yep. I'm not doing that, and I'm not teaching my kids that either. I'm breaking the cycle. Yeah. Well, one thing we learned, your story about the hoodie and sitting in class, we learned with the different ways that kids learn. We also learned that some kids perform better in the morning, some in the afternoon, and some in the evening. All of these, this has to be tailored education to work for the individual to shorten the learning curve and optimize their time so it's also enjoyable. Did you enjoy going to that class? Of course not. Right. Did you ever hear about the energy plot study that they did? No. What? They did an energy plot study where at 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m., you plot your energy. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your energy? And it's exactly what you just said. They found out that people perform better in the morning, they perform better in the evening, or they perform better at night. Most people, by noon, maybe 1 o'clock, they're peaking. So it's a study called Energy Management versus Time Management. And it says manage your energy, not your time, and you'll be 100% more successful. Well, I'll have to look at that for sure. We validated it, and we did that with our work with the military and with CBS television and millions of people. So we know it's true. It's true. That's so. So let's talk about your book. Let's talk about your book. The book. To connect. Which is basically to find your soulmate and connect with people. Or improve the relationship that you're in now. Again, it starts with knowing yourself.
okay? Because I really feel that we're so pushed by the environment and pushed by other people that we don't know and have totally answered who we are. And so we have 4 things that the audience can do and look at is the kind of mind, whether it's a Weaver type mind or a driver mind. And a driver mind is like mine. I go step by step. Think of me, the little scientist, and I really push for results. I don't like interruptions. I'm really very neat. The Weaver mind, and there's one is not better than another. You might have a Weaver that can do 3 things at once. And so this will be fun if you'd like to look at this with your family. And we work our way through the type of mind they have. We look our way through if they're more thing-oriented or more feeling-oriented, or are they more extroverted versus quiet? Because we found that people either are they'll be a listener first, and they need to really recharge their batteries, or there's people that are more extroverted, and they will talk first, and their energy comes from the interaction with people. And so these 4 areas is something that for the future we could talk about in more depth and share with the audience. They could actually have a paper and pencil out and work their way through these. I also want to offer passcodes to either high school or adult of the first 50 people that would like to try it and get their cogniphile report, because your cogniphile is based on your cognition. And what we did that was so different was find your cognition. But so in the book, we start with finding out who you are and then who you are most compatible with. And so it's 6 chapters are focused in on that, but also where do you find a soulmate if you don't have one right now? And how do you go about that? How do you start a conversation? How can you use the information in the book on these online dating sites so that you can find somebody that very quickly, within a few weeks, you should be able to determine the authenticity of the individual. And that is the critique that most young people are concerned, is that they are not finding the authenticity of the individual. And so we give them this 4 steps to do that.
Very cool.
And
so,
then,
it seems like you've had a lot of success with this.
Yes, and we have. I have to. Do I have enough time to share one success story?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Stieg and Angie's Power couple story. And Stieg was in a relationship. It just really wasn't working. And, the comment people make is, well, opposites attract. Well, he was looking at somebody who was the opposite of him, and it didn't work. And so he then started, interviewing women, going out, having coffee, that kind of thing. And all of a sudden, there was this woman that he could talk to for hours, and it seemed only minutes. And I said, well, yeah, Stieg, she's got the same kind of mind that you have, and the same kind of value systems, and she's long-term thinker and all of this. And sure enough, they did get married, and their energy off of each other has propelled them to be speakers nationwide on encouraging people to be themselves. And they are known as the Power Couple. And it came about because Stieg was aware of what we were doing to help people in business. And one day he said, Linda, will your system work in relationships? And yes, that was one of our early successes a number of years ago, in that we can match people that will be compatible for their lifetime.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, I guess we always want to make sure that we find our soulmate, we communicate properly, and I don't know. I mean, there's people that they're on their third marriage already,
I know. Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't have to be. And you can use the science of your mind, your God-given talents, to work through a couple chapters to identify who you are most compatible with. And it's all written out. There are Cogniphile reports there included in the book, and a lot of detailed information as to why this person you would be more compatible with. And all of a sudden, you're going to, if you're looking for someone or you're in a relationship, you're going to say, oh, that's why we do what we do. That's why we can talk on the phone for 4 hours and it seems like 20 minutes. Or if you're already in a relationship, why you're so happy. And I think anyone can use the book, whether they're in the relationship or looking, because everyone has a soulmate, but the book helps direct them to places where they can find that soulmate or improve the relationship that they're in. Just understanding that other human being and why they do what they do, to work together, because the real team in life is understanding the gifts that you all bring to that team and leveraging off the team. And I think you commented on this before, the fact that, once you understand who you are and what your gifts are, then you gather to maximize solving problems and moving forward and improving communications.
Absolutely 100% agree. Moving forward, where do you see it going? As we start to close the show, I'm curious if somebody listens to this episode and they connect with your book.
Yes.
Where do you see the evolution?
I'd like to see a TV series that is beyond the romantic porn that I see in some of the TV shows, that we have authentic people, people can learn from a TV series how to do this themselves, with or without the book. I want to encourage people to, again, take in some new information to make a new decision about your life and how valuable you are. You have choices to make. And so think about this information as you make these critical choices about a soulmate and a person that you will raise your children with. It's so important that you understand, again, why we do what we do and who you are.
Perfect.
Anyone who is interested in, I can give out a free book, couple free books. They would just type in support, SUPPORT, at xyte.com, and indicate if they're interested in a book or a passcode. And let's start a discussion about this new science of the mind technology. Let's have a discussion about how we can make some better decisions about our life and feel confident and thankful every day for who we are and the gifts that we have been given.
Oh, that's an amazing message to end the show. Linda, this has been an amazing conversation. I feel like we just barely scratched the surface. And you are just so amazingly well-versed. I had an enjoyable experience on the show, and I know that the listeners are going to get a ton of value listening to this.
Thank you, Sean. I love talking with you anytime, and I'll communicate with some email passcodes for you and your family as well.
Perfect. With that said, where do you want the listeners to go? Where do you want them to go to get more information about you, to connect with you? Where do you want to direct their attention?
They can go to the numeral 2 connectbook.com if they want to purchase a book, and it's in an ebook or a hard copy. They can go to xyte.com, xyte.com, or I will get their message about how I can help them at support@xyte.com. And that's the SUP. Okay. And love to hear from y'all. And any way that we can help you better understand yourself and others, we want to look at acts of kindness that can occur because we're all so happy with ourselves, you know?
Yes. Absolutely. You ever seen Mike Rowe's Facebook watch show called Returning the Favor?
No, I haven't, and I will look that up. Return the Favor.
So Mike Rowe has a show on Facebook Watch called Returning the Favor. And it's basically people in certain communities are running soup kitchens, they're running nonprofits, they're doing acts of kindness, like amazing work in their life.
Oh, wonderful.
But yet they need a couple things, you know, like one lady needed a van because her van was kind of on the last leg, and the company van was going out. Another person needed they outgrew their building, but they didn't have enough money to build a new building, and one wasn't available, so they just kind of got stuck. So they paid to have another building added on to the one that they already had. So they basically made an addition, and he just travels around the United States, and it's called Returning the Favor. So he basically fills their needs whenever something comes up, you know. And it's such a good show.
Oh, that is fantastic, because it's in the good, giving in the giving that we receive, and that's what it's about.
Right. Oh, 100%. It just reminded me, you said acts of kindness. I'm like, oh, this guy. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Linda, like I said, this has been an amazing conversation. I loved it. Loved the conversation. And I wish you the best for the rest of 2020 and into 2021.
Thank you, Sean. And I wish everyone the best and looking on the positive side of life and what you can do to enjoy it and give and share and be happy and thankful.
That's a great message. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Life Transformation
Bye-bye.
Radio listeners. Bye. An amazing guest impacting the world around her. If anything's resonated with our conversation today with Linda McIsaac about connecting to improve those relationships, connect with her. Go to number 2 connectbook.com, and then go to Xyte, XYTE.com, Xyte.com. Look for her to improve your existing relationships or to find a soulmate, but connect with her to see what she's doing and her online assessments. With that, I close the show by saying, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.